Welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. We are live on CTV and Talk City 91.1 FM. We're also streaming live on ctvtt.com. We invite you to download our CTV app for the very latest in news and current affairs and even trending topics here on our program. Well, this morning we continue with our second Tobago segment. That's right, we have two Tobago segments for you today. And we continue with the theme of Press for Progress. Even though International Women's Day was celebrated back in March, we have a continuation of that. The Women and Healthy Living Diet and Exercise Initiative is one of several activities being held by the division of the TRHA in commemoration of International Women's Day. This activity is being held to celebrate women and to empower them to take care of their health in order to press for progress. Joining us from Tobago, we have Sindel Gibson Mahabe, who is a nutritionist at the TRHA. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you this morning. Now, we understand women experience a variety of health challenges, and I'd like to ask you specifically for Tobago, based on your observation, even in Trinidad, what are some of those challenges we face with our health?
Okay, one of the major challenges we face with our health is the prevalence rate of obesity in our country. Approximately 55% of the population is overweight and obese. And what we found, according to the Ministry of Health's Risk Factor Survey in 2012, is that the women are more obese than the men. And there's a higher percentage of women who are obese than men, and a higher percentage of men who are overweight than women. And obesity leads a lot to chronic diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, strokes, hypertension. And one of the other critical areas for women is diabetes in pregnancy, which is linked to diabetes and obesity later in life for their children.
All right.
The other common problems faced is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and also we have breast cancer as one of the major cancers affecting women in Trinidad and Tobago.
So just to go back on the topic of obesity, what is the difference between obesity and being overweight?
Well, the obesity would be an excess amount of body fat, and it's usually measured using a population measure we call your body mass index, which is your weight in relation to your height. And this index, to differentiate between obesity and overweight, BMI of 30 or above is defined as obesity, and a BMI of 25 or above is defined as overweight. But it's an excess amount of body fat that leads to negative health consequences for the individual.
All right. So let's talk a little bit more about this. Now, there are some people who can eat and eat and eat, and they just never gain weight. And then there are others who are on a permanent diet, and they can't lose a pound. Why is that the case?
Well, again, when we look at the women go through different stages in their lives. For example, beginning at adolescence, you have the growing needs of the adolescent girl in terms of building bone and for her own growth. And then you also have, by the time that a woman age reaches 25 years of age, the amount of calories that she needs, it becomes less as her growth, and there's not a demand for growth as there was before. And then as women get older, they tend to gain weight much easily as they approach menopause. As there's less estrogen being produced, it causes an increased weight gain, especially belly fat. And these are some areas that women or health concerns that women go through.
How would you describe, oh, sorry, continue.
Sure, go ahead.
How would you describe healthy eating? What is healthy eating for a woman?
Right, so healthy eating for a woman is very important because, as I said, she goes through different stages in her life and which places different demands on her for nutrients. So, for example, for a woman who is going through pregnancy and lactation, she has a greater demand for iron and folic acid. And healthy eating becomes an important part of her diet because it helps to prevent neural tube defects and also impaired cognitive development in the growing baby. This is very important. Also, we want to look at, as I said, menopause, because there is less estrogen being produced. You find that there is greater bone loss. And so it's important that her diet is rich in calcium, magnesium, protein, and vitamin D. So because women go through different stages in their lives, there is a different demand for nutrients placed on her. So healthy eating is important for all women at every stage.
How important is sleep, adequate sleep, and how much is adequate sleep? Is it 8 hours? Is it 6 hours? Does it vary?
Well, adequate sleep could range from between 8 to 10 hours, and adequate sleep is very important. Lack of sleep actually increases stress hormones in the bodies. It increases blood sugar levels, your blood pressure, and of course, it can also affect your weight management as well.
Wow, very important there. What about exercise? How important is exercise?
Exercise is very important, extremely, as we speak about the prevalence of obesity in our country. It helps to burn the extra calories, the extra fat stores, and this goes along with healthy eating as well, because you find that healthy eating along with the exercise produce better results in helping to maintain a healthier weight. Also, exercise is important to help control blood sugar. It helps especially as women reach age 30. What happens is that their bones, there's greater loss of bones than new bone being made. And so exercise, especially strength training, that's going to help the woman preserve bone loss and prevent osteoporosis and fractures later on in life. Also, it's important, exercise is important to manage stress, especially when women go through their premenstrual syndrome symptoms. Exercise helps to relieve some of those symptoms as she goes through hormonal changes, and is especially too helpful for women who have the polycystic ovarian syndrome.
You know, I'm very glad that you raised that point of strength training. So you're talking about weights and that sort of thing. But then there are those who say, well, I get enough exercise because I'm constantly running upstairs at work. I have a long way to walk to the boss's office. Is that adequate exercise?
Again, exercise is something that you plan, and normally the recommendation is for better health. At least if we spend 30 minutes a day in doing exercise, which could be different forms of activity, swimming, jogging, walking. The entire physical activity would include things like whether it's house chores, getting to work, moving from your desk. But the important thing is moving. So sometimes we just have to start there, make small changes, and just keep moving as much as possible and avoid a sedentary lifestyle.
Okay, great. Now, what are some of the barriers to a woman adopting such a healthy lifestyle? As you mentioned, appropriate amount of sleep and exercise and healthy eating.
One of the challenges we face is a lot of persons would express that healthy eating is expensive. And sometimes this could be the case in terms of financial constraints. And so what happens is that the foods that are cheaper are most times the foods that are high in calories, they are more energy dense than nutrient dense, and this perpetuates a cycle of unhealthy eating and obesity.
My final question to you. What are your thoughts on supplements? Should women be taking supplements? And what are some of the important nutrients women should ensure that they get into their bodies?
When it comes to supplements, sometimes even if a woman is eating healthily, what happens is that, especially during pregnancy and lactation, because of the demands of pregnancy and lactation, that the woman has to be on a prenatal vitamin, multivitamin. Now, also, if you have women who are vegetarian and they lack foods from animal sources and so on, most likely they may be deficient in vitamin B12. So a supplement would be of value there. And also you have persons who they're not eating well, they don't have a proper diet, or they're not following the dietary recommendations. They would require a supplement as well.
So this event that you all are having, the Women and Healthy Living Diet and Exercise Initiative, I understand that it is one of several activities being held by the division. When exactly is this event taking place, and who is invited?
It's a series of events. You can visit the Facebook page. The DHSS has their Facebook page with their calendar of events, and it's throughout the entire year.
Great. Such a pleasure chatting with you, Ms. Sindel Gibson Mahabe, a nutritionist from the TRHA. We look forward to many more conversations like these here on CTV. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, so we take a short break, much more when we return.